Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. We are in the Florida room right now in our new home in Destin, Florida, on the panhandle of Florida. And we are still building garden beds after being here over a year and a half. And just one plant at a time. But one of the big things that I did when I started growing here was that I focused a lot on flowers. In fact, in our previous location, I didn't have a lot of room at the apartment. In fact, if you've seen a few of my videos recently, I've actually popped up this picture of the garden that I started with at the apartment. And it's not very impressive, but it was our place that we got started in. That's it. And so anyway, one of the big things I realized over there was that we didn't have a lot of bees. And it was, in fact, one of those years, I remember it was mid-July before I finally saw my first bee one year. In fact, I think that was, this is 23, 22, 21. I think that was 20 or 21, like 2020 or 2021, that we just had no bees. And one of the big things that, if you know anything about gardening, is you need pollinators to pollinate those little blooms on the plants to grow fruit. And so I started looking a little bit more into growing flowers. I'd never grown flowers before, never really been that interested. But now I'm very interested because it brings more bees. So fast forward to today, we actually have a bee box out there with thousands of bees in it, and everything gets pollinated now. But I've started to grow a lot more flowers just because it feeds them. It feeds the bees in my bee box over here. Well, it's not my bee box, but I'm hosting the bee box for a friend. And so it's really important to have plenty of flowers nearby that can attract pollinators when you don't have flowers growing on your vegetable plants. And that's really what it boils down to, and why I started growing more flowers, so that we could have food there. They're not going to leave. Hopefully they're going to stay happy. We have so many flowers on our property, thousands of them of varying kinds, all throughout the year, that hopefully our bee box will never want to leave. That's the goal, at least. And so a couple of plants I have here, I planted out a couple of old marigold seeds. And these are a Jolly Jester marigold. And they're multicolored. I forget what colors they are, but they're pretty. I started them in this seed starting tray. And I think I probably started 6 seeds, but only 2 of them came up. So I'm just up potting them and giving them a little more room to grow. They've kind of outgrown their package. In fact, if I can get this out of here gently, I'm kind of massaging the outside of this thing to get it out. But it should show us a lot, and hopefully you can see all those roots. There's a lot of roots growing in there, and this thing is begging to get out. So I plant as much as I can from seed. It's just a lot cheaper. It's a lot more cost effective. You get a package of 50 to 100 seeds for a couple bucks, where you get one plant for $5 at your big box store. And so I'm really enjoying being able to grow my own seeds and grow as many as I want. And here's the thing, I'll grow a dozen of a plant. Maybe I only want 2 or 3 of that plant. You know what you do with those others? Well, you can do a few things. You can store them. You can keep them in a place where they're stuck in a solo cup and don't grow any bigger. You can give them away to friends, or you can just toss them out because they didn't cost that much to begin with. You got your money's worth out of even if one seed starts. So and heaven forbid that's the case. But anyway, so flowers though. Flowers are very important, and we need to be a little more mindful of our bees so that they can pollinate. Now, something that kind of crossed my mind just now, we talk about bees, and I know there's a big movement for honeybees right now. And I saw an article a while back that talks about how honeybees are not the bees that are in danger. In fact, honeybees are on the increase because everybody's helping them out. But did you know there's other kinds of bees? There's solitary bees. And solitary bees, they're the ones that live in the little tubes that you put inside a box. And there are organizations that will help you host those kind of bees as well. They don't produce honey, but they do still pollinate. Here's the interesting thing about solitary bees. They are better pollinators than honeybees. I didn't realize that. But anyway, so the biggest thing is just, don't rule flowers out. And if you're going along and you're growing stuff and you're seeing that maybe you have to hand pollinate your cucumbers or your squash or something, and you're wondering where the bees are, well, trust me, this is the way to attract the bees. Before we got the bee box, I was putting out lots of zinnias and nasturtium. We had no shortage of bees. My neighbor back over here has huge jasmine vines. We had blueberry blooms. We had all kinds of blooms. And because we had so many blooms all over the property, pomegranates, lemon flowers, lemon trees were flowering, citrus tree, all kinds of citrus trees were flowering on our property. We had tons and tons of bees. And I don't think on this property we would have ever had trouble with pollinating, but I know that with the bee box out there, we get more pollination than we would have. And the way to really ensure that you get well pollinated, I believe very strongly, is find a way to get a bee box. Now, the way mine works, it's a friend of mine. He has about 50 bee boxes around the town of Destin, Florida. And he actually has a honey business. So he'll go collect honey from some of them, and he manages them and maintains them. And they're his boxes, but he finds people that are willing to host them. And that's, I tell you what, that's been kind of a neat thing. There are people that do this all around the country. Look at those roots on that marigold. That's beautiful. People around the country that do that and just have bee boxes. And so these marigolds will end up going somewhere in the garden after they've grown up a little. When they start filling these cups with roots, just like it filled the little starter tray, then they'll get planted out in the garden somewhere. But these will make some beautiful flowers that will attract bees. And if you're having trouble with pollination, I'd encourage you to grow some bees. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We talk mostly about gardening, sometimes about life, and just little tips, things that kind of cross my mind as I'm doing stuff in the garden, and trying to be of help to people if I can. I know people helped me to get started, and if I can help others to get started, I feel like I'm paying it forward. Maybe, I don't know. Being part of the circle of life. There you go. So anyway, so these things are planted in, and I'm going to do another video on what kind of soil I'm using here. But I'm going to water them in real good so that they will. You want that soil to settle around those roots with plenty of contact. There's extra food in this soil for them to grow, and these things will take off. You saw those roots were just aching to get out. They were kind of perfect, actually, aching to get out, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to get out and grow the whole plants more and become something big. So anyway, if you've already subscribed and you're coming back to watch another video, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. If you thought this was entertaining, informational, educational, inspirational, click the thumbs up and share on your social media page. All these are free things that you can do to help grow our community. And if you Have any questions or comments? What are you up potting today, or what are you growing today? What season are you in? And what, maybe some of you are just getting out of cold and just putting seeds in the ground. So tell me what you're growing in the comments below, and look forward to hearing from you. I still like reading all the comments that we get, and look forward to hearing from everybody. So have a blessed day.